Packer, and I would like to thank the organisers of the meeting for inviting Martin and myself to speak today. I am the innovation lead for AMR and vaccines at Innovate UK, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The UK has recognised the importance of AMR and is leading the way in many activities, and in particularly in the Pull initiative or the Netflix initiative in relation to the development of new antimicrobials and their licensure. I'm not going to talk about that now because that's going to be discussed in various other meetings here this week. But what I do want to say is that this and other solutions, for this and for other solutions to work, we need to develop new technologies. And we believe that the best way to do this is through collaboration between academics and businesses nationally and internationally. And I hope you can see that we're putting this into practice today here with me from the UK, joining Martin from the Netherlands in this presentation. Can I have the next slide, please? As I mentioned, I work for Innovate UK, and this is part of UK research and innovation. And we work with the UK government to invest over £7 billion a year in research and innovation by partnering with academics and industrial companies. And there are 9 leading academic and industrial research councils within this organisation, and you can see them flashing up on the screen now. If I can have the next slide now, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about Innovate UK. And essentially, the Innovate UK is the innovation arm of the UK government, and it drives specifically productivity and economic growth by supporting businesses to develop new ideas. And we're largely involved in transitioning research into industry and business, i.e. to maximize the outputs of the original research. Could I have the next slide, please? So I'm now going to briefly talk a little bit about Innovate Global Strategy, and then Martin will pick up and talk about AMR insights and the importance of collaboration. And then we will give some examples of, and in particular, the ongoing inward AMR mission into the UK, some technical examples which I'll describe, and then I'll briefly highlight the new inward mission to the US on AMR next year. So on the next slide, please, I'm going to talk a little bit about the global missions and global strategy, because that relates to what we're going to talk about in a moment. Essentially, our global strategy is to support the UK's industrial strategies ambitions for the UK to be the partner of choice for science and innovation. And it plays an important role in building strategic partnerships and providing deep insight and opportunities for innovation and shaping future bilateral collaboration programs. And one of the main ways we do this are through global expert missions, or GEMs. And this is where we endeavour to understand a particular nation's expertise, and in this case in AMR, and how this might align with UK's expertise, and then to see if this is ripe for developing collaboration. And when this happens, we then hold a GBIT, which is a global business innovation programme, where we take UK companies to the relevant nation of interest to develop collaborations. I'm now going to pass over to Martin, who's going to talk about himself, AMR insights, and about the mission, the inward mission into the UK.
Thank you, Phil. My name is Martin van Dolle. I represent, and I'm the director of AMR Insights. AMR Insights is a globally active network-based organization, and I'm happy to share some insights about AMR Insights. In fact, AMR Insights has 3 core activities. The first one is to inform professionals, and we do so by sending out a newsletter every 2 weeks to almost 9,000 professionals around the globe. And in addition, we welcome something like 40,000 visitors per year at our information platform. The second pillar is that we educate professionals, and the most important part of that is that we organize an annual masterclass AMR, an online masterclass, especially meant to inform professionals around the globe on antimicrobial resistance. The third pillar is that we connect professionals, and we do so by organizing international matchmaking symposia. In fact, 2 of these events per year, one in June, especially focused on the use of data technologies to curb AMR, and the second one in November, focusing on upcoming antimicrobials and diagnostics. In addition, we, as you can see, have the AMR innovation missions, and these are also the topic for this presentations. And I'm happy to share some more insights about these AMR innovation missions later on. AMR Insight last year has initiated a global network of ambassadors, and we now do have something like 370 ambassadors in 55 countries. And these ambassadors represent professors, medical doctors, pharmacists, epidemiologists, microbiologists, people working in the pharma, the biotech industry, veterinarians, NGOs, and so on. In fact, these ambassadors are the boots on the ground. They do carry out the message of AMR Insights, and at the same time do also provide us with a lot of day-to-day basic knowledge and insights. And last but certainly not least, the network is also the beginning of an increasing amount of projects and publications and other collaborations. I would like to highlight one of these projects, and that is that we are in the process of developing a gamified program to improve antibiotic prescription. The name of this gamified program is Focus on Prescription. And in fact, it is a three-step program. The first step is a survey tool called Are You Resistant, to be taken on mobile phones. The second and most important step is a serious game to be played on laptops called Prescription Challenge. And the third step is an online diagnostic tool. And we are currently exploring possibilities to collaborate with public and private organizations around the globe to further develop this gamified program. And if you're interested, then please contact me. The AMR Innovation Mission UK 2021, which is obviously the most important part of this presentation, has the aim to add to the curbing of antimicrobial resistance by boosting joint innovation and international collaboration, as also already mentioned by Phil. And thereby we focus on the entire value chain from early research up to and including validation and registration. And we focus on all the technologies and products involved in curbing AMR, including vaccines, diagnostics, and antimicrobial products and alternatives. And the aim is to facilitate international dialogues, especially for the UK business community. The AMR mission welcomes delegates from the UK, of course, but also from Europe and from other parts of the world. And these include companies, but also academic and research institutes, and also organizations such as regional development companies and other stakeholders. The concept of the mission is from AMR Insights. It is also our initiative, but could only be realized in close collaboration with Innovate UK, Oxford Innovation, the National Institute of Health Research, Innovate UK X, Enterprise Europe Network. Then something about the AMR Innovation Mission in statistics, and about the actual parts of the mission. First of all, the AMR Innovation Mission UK consists of two interrelated parts. A virtual mission earlier this year on 10, 11 and 12 May, especially meant to initiate contacts, and a physical face-to-face mission in the spring of 2022, and to consolidate the contacts and to enter into collaborations and so on. The virtual mission had a clear thematic approach, focusing in 3 consecutive days on diagnostics, antimicrobials and antimicrobial strategies, and the third day on preventives and antimicrobial stewardship. Some data about the Virtual Innovation Mission UK. We welcomed in May of this year over 400 participants, which I think is a great success. Over 100 participants from the UK itself, and these included SMEs, including also startups, something like 140, almost 200 representatives from academic research and research institutes, and some 70 other people. And in total, 64 countries were represented. So this was really a global activity. We also were happy to see that over 200 matchmaking meetings took place, and these matchmaking 81 were transnational. So we were very happy to see that many matchmaking sessions, but also that many countries represented. Now a few words about the physical mission coming year. Whereas the virtual mission had a thematic approach, the physical mission coming year will have a regional approach, where we will visit the Golden Triangle, Wales, Northern England, and last but not least also Scotland. And we hope to welcome something like 20 to 30 delegates to visit the UK in the spring of 2022 and to travel around, visit these 4 places, have lectures, maybe company visits, but also, of course, the matchmaking, the partnering sessions. Then there will also be 2 missions to the United States, one global expert mission, and also a UK business delegation going out later this year. And Phil will tell you more about that. Phil, over to you.
Thanks very much, Martin. I thought it would be useful just to give some quick examples of some real collaborations and partnerships that we've been involved with in recent years. So if I could have the next slide, please. We're working with DHSC to deliver some programs with them under a project between UK and China. And my colleague Shahida Saeed is here with us today. And essentially these projects there are 14 of them, and they have a UK business lead and an academic. There's a Chinese business and a Chinese academic as a minimum on each of the programs. So here is the first one, and this is being led by Epigem. And if we can have a look at the next slide, please. Essentially what they're trying to do here, there are 2 strands of work. The first is looking for a pathogen diagnostic and AST within 7 hours. And it uses Raman spectroscopy, measuring vibrational energy of chemical bonds in molecules, and single-cell Raman spectra, providing the information of the biological composition of a cell. And these are considered single-cell phenotypic fingerprints. And this method is particularly good because it requires only a very low number of cells and no culture. It relies on metabolic activity. And this equipment is being assessed in China on real samples. The second part of this program is the development of an integrated system for rapid sample-to-report tests in clinic. And this involves the development of a microfluidics device, including an isolation module, an AST module, the establishment of a Raman database, machine learning algorithms, and ultimately the development of an integrated system that can be tested in the clinic and which will be tested in Chinese clinic with real samples. On the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about a project which is being led by Oplitech in the UK. Now, Oplitech are building detailed computational models of bacteria, and these models have been utilized to identify drug targets and establish first-in-class antibacterial drug discovery. And the Chinese partners are actually testing these compounds against real isolates in China itself. And there's a second major partner, the Quadrum Institute, on this project in the UK, and they have been developing a rapid diagnostic system for bacterial pathogens based on nanopore technology with their own system of sample processing, which is patented, which will allow results to be delivered within 6 hours rather than the 24 to 48 hours normally for a normal test. And again, the Chinese partners are testing this system in hospitals. I'm now going to just talk about another project from Destiny, and I'm going to highlight something else at the end of that on the next slide, please. So essentially, this is, again, a collaboration under the UK-China program, and Destiny have developed XF drugs which have antibacterial activity and particularly good at combating biofilms. And the program in China has developed formulations and dosing, and as a result, with one of their partners, Medipharm, they've developed formulations such as gels, creams, and ointments, etc. But what's good about this project is the fact that it's been managed to leverage more funding and a larger project as a result. And in particular, they've had funding to demonstrate efficacy in the porcine infected model, which has shown that the antibacterial works, but it does not cause any damage to the wound healing process. And secondly, they've received funding from NIAID to carry out clinically enabling GLP toxicology tests, and these started in July this year. So I think that's a good example of where projects can develop with new partners as they develop. I'd finally like to finish on this little section with the next slide. And I'd like to give an example of how different national funding bodies can work together to develop solutions for the better good. So Oxford Drug Discovery, through an EU FP7 collaboration, have developed a initial compound for a new target. And this is a new target, which is aminoside acetyl R tRNA synthetase. And through their computational processes, they've got a new chemotype against that. And this has got activity against gram-negative bacteria. So this company, Oxford Drug Design, applied to Innovate UK to get funding, and this again was DHSC funding, but from another source, and they were awarded funding. But following discussions with Carbex and Innovate UK and DHSC, Oxford Drug Design were able to leverage another $2.4 billion from Carbex to further develop the program, thus increasing available resources and enabling access to additional technologies. And this demonstrates the benefit of closer working, and it's something that we want to do more of in the future. And we have some initial discussion. We've had some initial discussions with Kevin from Carbex, and we hope to do some more again this week. I'd finally like to finish off talking a little bit on the next slide about the AMR inward mission to the USA. And that is going to take place in June next year. This is in June next year in Washington. And we'll hold an event at the ASM to bring together US and scientists and experts to understand the expertise and requirements of the different areas of AMR. And we will also follow on that trip with a small trip down to Atlanta to talk to some more establishments down there. So that's just a heads up for that meeting. And we'd like to talk to anybody about that later on today or tomorrow. We are actually in the air at the moment, but we'll be here later today and tomorrow. And we will be actually hosting a workshop, which you can see on the next slide, where we would obviously like to talk about the topic in discussion. But if anybody would like to talk about the inward mission at that meeting or afterwards, please do. So at that point, I'd like to thank the organisers again for letting me and Martin speak today. Thank you.